Hey there, Dusty Thunder here with a best of Redditor update story for you. This one is titled, I Ruined My Parents' Relationship Over Reading Mail. Originally posted July 2nd, 2023. I, 24 female, don't want to say what I do for work, but let's just say it's the type of job that includes a lot of written letters from clients that are supposed to be confidential and only for my eyes. I'm fresh out of college and living with my parents so I can finish paying off for school. My work letters, of course, go to my parents' address since they live miles away from a post office and driving to a P.O. box is a huge pain. The issue started with my father. Ever since high school, when I received mail, my dad would open it. Whenever I received Christmas or birthday cards in the mail with money in them, my dad would hand me the card and insist he'll keep the money safe for me until I demanded he handed it over. Any package I would order for myself, he would open and hand to me. Sometimes the products were used by him as well. The final straw was when he received my acceptance letter to my dream college, and instead of waiting for me to come home to open it, he opened it himself and called me while I was at work to congratulate me. I've spoken to my mother about how much this makes me feel uncomfortable, and she told me she'd speak to my father about it, to which he would apologize and not do it for a week before doing it again the next week. I had also spoken to my dad about the confidentiality of the mail I would be receiving now that I'm working, and he says he understands, but it all came crashing down a few weeks ago. While I was working, my dad came into my room and handed me opened envelopes from my clients and even tried to have a conversation about it with me, but I just ignored him until he got the hint and left. After work, I yelled at him for violating client confidentiality, to which he got defensive and said that I live in his house. Any mail sent to his house would be read by him. I don't think that's the way the law works regarding that, sir. Furious, the next week I thought I would take revenge on my father by going to the mailbox and reading his mail, but what I found was what ended my relationship with him. I had found credit card statements on jewelry and restaurants that were too fancy for my dad to go to alone, and I don't remember the last time my dad took my mom on a date nor bought her any jewelry. I also found a letter addressed to my dad from a woman who stated how tired she was for hiding this relationship for so long and how she is so desperate for his letters to reach her. When my dad noticed the mailbox was empty, he ran back in the house as white as a ghost. He walked into the kitchen to see me and my mom in the kitchen reading his mail. Before the fighting could start, my mom asked me to leave the house. So I drove to my aunt's, who lives 45 minutes away, and explained everything. I came back after 2 days and my dad's stuff was gone. My mom told me my dad's living in a hotel and she will be in contact with a divorce attorney. Turns out my dad has been having an affair with a family friend and was hiding it through letters to leave no digital footprint. My dad ended up showing my mom the stash of letters he had, and she took photos of each and every single letter before she asked him to leave. I feel at fault because I at first wanted to be petty with my dad, but it unraveled into this huge event and made me think, no wonder he's been looking through my shit. He was giving himself away. I feel like I shattered my mom's world since I can hear her cry every night about it since the incident. Shit. Top comments. Commenter: you didn't ruin your parents' marriage. Your father ruined it. No wonder he was so controlling. Also, don't know if you're in the USA, but it's a crime to open someone else's mail. It's not your fault he's a shitty person. Just be glad your mother doesn't have to put up with his BS anymore. Hear, hear. Original OP's response: I will be pursuing a case about this. Thank you so much. I already spoke to my work about it. Comment: you didn't ruin your parents' relationship. Your dad having an affair ruined it. You just found out about it and gave your mom the chance to make an informed decision with all the facts on whether she wanted to be in a marriage with a cheater. Comment: her dad took her birthday money to pay for his secret life. Comment: his insane mail rule wasn't about invading your privacy. That was a bonus for him. It was about covering his ass for as long as possible. He did it to himself. I think we see a lot of times when people have something that they're hiding, they're overly sensitive or overly, what's the word I'm looking for? Overly paranoid about other people trying to hide things the same way. So who knows how long this has been going on, because he's been overly paranoid about mail other people are receiving for years and years and years and years. He might have had pen pals for a while. Update the next day, July 3rd, 2023. Thank you all so much. I wrote this out last night, drunk off my mind, and I never expected this much kindness from strangers. I'll go ahead and answer a few questions here and then give an update. Was my dad using my money from the gifts to buy stuff for his mistress? I'm 50-50 on this answer. I received cards when I was young with money, and it was the same routine. Aunts and uncles would leave $100 per card, and my dad always gave them to me when I was younger. As I got older, obviously the money reduced to $20 to $40. I do believe my dad would give me back half of my money in those cards, which would make sense as to how he was able to make such huge expenses on his mistress. Oh my God. I need to collect proper evidence, so I plan on calling my aunts and uncles and other relatives who would send me money. I don't know that evidence is going to be admissible at this point because it was years and years and years ago, but it's still evidence. The mistress would send letters addressed as a business or a credit card company. If you ask me, they were doing the most. When my mom would check the mail, she would see the letters that were addressed to my dad as bills or some crazy BS and never open them because she doesn't handle the bills. A lot of packages were sent by the mistress as well, which is why he went through my packages, and I don't want to imagine what kind of crap she was mailing him. Now for the update. Like I said before, it's been a few weeks since it happened. I've been doing my best to comfort my mother while she deals with all the legal business and my dad's constant appeals to my mom to apologize and begging for forgiveness. I've been here to listen to her, and she keeps spiraling between wanting to forgive him and cursing him to hell. I told her my own personal opinion, which was to never take back a cheater. She did basically everything for him, and she shouldn't see it as her not being enough for him. That's his fault for not appreciating her. The mistress also was a married woman. My mom reached out to her husband, sending him the letters she had taken photos of, even had a long phone call with him about what was going on. He initiated the divorce, and the mistress is now angry at my father for not being more careful. The mistress's ex-husband, who I'll call Henry, has been a best friend of my mom's throughout the legal cases. I hear the mistress is still reaching out to forgive him, which I honestly think is very funny since my dad is doing the same thing. She was financially dependent on Henry, and my dad isn't making enough at his job to support the lifestyle she wants. Oh, it's the tiniest violin ever. Yesterday, Henry asked my mom to come out to lunch with him. They've been sad shut-ins for the past few days, and they agreed to go out and get some fresh air. I encouraged my mom to do so, and to call me if my dad or the mistress decided to show their faces when they went just so I could pick her up. My dad hasn't apologized to me at all about reading my mail. In fact, he's called me and left me voicemails telling me that this whole situation was my fault, then going and crying saying he regrets everything and he hopes he can still be my dad. I honestly don't know what to do with him right now other than ignore him. I don't know if there will be another update, but I will if something major happens. Again, thank you so much for the supportive comments, and I hope some of what I said clears things up for you all. OP, this has nothing to do with you. You're just the person that happened to find his just shitty little system for hiding things. I say shitty, but it worked for a long time. How long, we don't know. That's how well it worked. He had a system which does explain his oversensitivity to checking mail. He already had total control of that, so he felt confident that that would be a solid delivery system. He had total control to an illegal extent, but he had total control there, right? So you found it because you found someone else's up doesn't mean that it's your up. It's still theirs. You just discovered it. You just found it. You brought it to light. And him saying this is all your fault is hilarious. Hilarious. That is laughable. Don't give that a second thought. It's your fault he got caught. It's not your fault he chose to do the dumb shit that he did. And it's still not your fault that he got caught. I shouldn't even say that. He's blaming you for getting caught because you're the one who caught him. That doesn't mean it's your fault. It's still his fault. And doubly his fault, because if he hadn't meddled in your confidential work-related mail, you would have never gone to the mailbox to do what you did. He initiated his own demise here. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy because he overstepped the bounds that was so critical that some kind of action had to be taken. Either it was going to be legal action because he did break the law. He broke patient confidentiality by opening mail that was not addressed to him, which is another sensitive issue there. But had he not done any of that shit, he would have never been found out, which is not a good thing. But it doesn't mean that he gets to blame you for it. Pick which dumbass thing he did that got himself in trouble. It doesn't matter. Throw a dart. He's got all kinds of dumb things to choose from. Any of those number of things are the reason that he's in this mess. None of them are on you. And as a father, trying to blame your child because they're the one who caught you in this charade is the most cowardly, bullshit, unfatherly thing you could possibly do. That man has a lot of work to do to make up ground with you and your relationship before I would give him an ounce of respect back. He definitely goes on ask on one here, all the way. And Brozo knows no age. He gets the Brozo award here as well. He also gets a DFHB fail for blaming his own kid for this shit. Dumbass. You, however, get the NTA here, OP. Sorry you had to go through this, but it is not your fault. Your father's a dumbass.